This is the nimble Leopard 1. It's German, although this particular one was used by the Canadian Armed Forces. Weighing a relatively light 40 tons, it has an impressive top speed of 40 miles per hour and a range of 370 miles. This was West Germany's first foray into tank production since the war. And it turned out to be a roaring success, exemplifying the quality of German engineering. Porsche was involved in the design, and it's named after a big cat. But that's where the similarities to its World War II predecessors end. Because when you compare the Leopard to the Tigers, you'll see just how far German doctrine has shifted since their defeat to the Allies. Mobility was now the priority, ahead of armour and firepower. In so many ways, Leopard is the opposite of its contemporary and competitor, the British Chieftain. Leopard entered service with the German Army in 1965, serving until 2003 when it was replaced in German service by Leopard 2. It was developed around a version of the British L7 105mm rifled gun, the same gun that was used on the successful Centurion tank. But it is lightly armoured. At its thickest, it's 280mm thinner than the Chieftain. As a result, the crews would rely on speed and stealth to avoid enemy fire, which is a perfectly sound strategy if you've got an engine that actually works, and this one does. This engine is far more reliable and easier to maintain. So whilst blokes like me were sweating over the Chieftain on the tank park, our NATO friends were already getting the beers in. It also proved to be a tank that could be upgraded without compromising its performance, with a succession of upgrades to the armour, communications and the systems controlling the gun. As popular as it was with its crews, it was never seriously tested in combat. As a tank crewman myself, I would wonder how the reliance on mobility to get you out of trouble would have fared in defensive combat situations. Even so, Leopard 1 is a neat tank. But how does it perform on the track? The driver's cab is really together. And what I mean by that is that the startup procedure is straightforward, the controls are simple, and the driving position is absolutely fantastic. Now straight away, the big difference for me is I'm driving with no steering levers like I'm used to. But I've got this control lever directly in front of me. Now this is great. I think I did say the Chieftain steering was responsive. Well, I might have to withdraw that comment, as this is considerably better. It's almost a little too good. It takes a little bit of time to get used to, because you have to be quite careful. The first few turns you can actually oversteer, and it does turn the tank quite sharply. But again, this is nothing. After a few laps of the track, you can certainly get used to this pretty quickly. The automatic gearbox, dead straightforward, neutral into drive, foot on the accelerator, and away we go. The ride is smooth, it is fantastic, it's an absolute pleasure to drive. The only thing I wish with this vehicle is, A, I had more time, and B, that the track was considerably bigger. Leopard was a great export success, and I can see why. It's comfortable, light, nimble, and quick. It's almost fun to drive. Around 6,500 Leopards were built, serving with over 15 different nations, and several hundred are still in service today. Many nations that had previously operated Centurion opted for the Leopard instead of Chieftain, because despite having less armour and less firepower, it was quick, packed a punch, and crucially, it worked. Now you've seen how the Leopard rides in the arena, why don't you take it for a spin yourself in World of Tanks?